The fine woods that go into Homestead House furniture start here, deep in the forests. Oak, cherry, mahogany. Our dining room collections, bedroom sets, beautiful individual pieces are carefully selected for their craftsmanship, their distinctive styling, their attention to detail. And best of all, our prices make these great furniture values surprisingly affordable. At Homestead House, fine furniture from the woods of the world.
KRDO TV, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, serving southern Colorado.
From the Broadcast Center for Southern Colorado, this is News 13, the Early Report with Scott Pope, Tammy Gordon with weather, and John Eves with sports.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Cameras are beneficial in the courtroom. At least that's what a Boulder judge said today concerning the trial of convicted killer Robert Weigard. Weigard was convicted June 11th of first-degree murder of a Boulder waiter. His trial received added attention for Judge Murray Richtel's precedent-setting decision to allow cameras in the courtroom. Weigard's trial was the first to be photographed under a new Colorado ruling, leaving the camera decision up to the judge in the case. Richtel said the cameras gave the public an inside view of how the judicial process works. The El Paso County Health Department has asked residents in the Palmer Lake area to boil their water before drinking it because of a high bacterial count. 5 residents complained last week of flu-like symptoms, and health officials said the illnesses were caused by the high runoff and turbidity in the town's reservoir. Officials add that the residents should continue to boil the water until further notice. When school starts again in the fall, the government will try to clamp down on the subsidized school lunch programs. The Agriculture Department says more than 17% of the households receiving reduced price or free lunches are ineligible. The department says starting this fall, school districts will have to start verifying every 1 in 30 applications for the lunch program. Locally, school districts say the Agriculture Department's figure is wrong.
When you get down to the actual people who don't qualify economically, you're dealing with less than 0.5%. So it's a very false figure, and I think it's very unfair, and it makes a lot of people look bad that really are not that way.
Tutt says school districts are trying to lobby to have the verification process put off for a year until it can be better organized. Though Pueblo County residents aren't sure that having a toxic waste site in their county is a good idea, local industries say it would save them a lot of money. Our Cherie Campbell talked to some local industries, and she's now live in our newsroom with more. Cherie, how would a dump site in Pueblo County help save money for industries here in the Springs?
Well, Scott, most of the area industries right now are having to truck most of their toxic waste out of state. Up until a little over a year ago, corporations like Hewlett-Packard trucked those waste to Lowry Landfill in Denver. But now that landfill is closed, and so the transportation costs have risen to 6 times what it was before. For large companies like Hewlett-Packard, that cost increase can be handled, but smaller companies are having a harder time of it. And they say that the treatment facility and dump site would not only help the industries already located here, but would encourage other industries to locate in this area. Industries that might have been discouraged before at the prospect of having to transport waste out of state. Back to you, Scott.
Sure, yeah, I would imagine there's probably a lot of bureaucratic red tape in order to get one of these dump sites to become a reality. What's that going to take?
Well, Scott, understandably, some Pueblo County residents are not quite sure they really want a toxic waste site located in their county, and so there's bound to be some opposition there. The final say will be up to county commissioners, Pueblo County commissioners, and the IT corporation plans to go before those commissioners in just a few months to ask for a permit to begin building, but it will be up to the commissioners to grant that, and I'll have more on that at 6, Scott.
Okay, Cherie, thanks for that report. The government knew the dangers of exposing soldiers to radiation back in 1945 during atomic testing. That, according to the Atomic Veterans. The group is organized across the country to make their cause known. A news conference was held today by the local chapter for Atomic Veterans and Agent Orange victims, to announce that this Saturday is Atomic Vets Day. The group says on that day, some newly found information about a government cover-up will be released. The vets are urging all veterans exposed during atomic testing to come to a special picnic this Saturday in Evergreen.
We also believe, and I do too, that there's probably several men around here that were atomic veterans or Agent Orange veterans or something, and they're not aware of our group either. And they wanted us to drum up more people because they could be sitting on information that could be useful to us. And then again, we may have information that could relieve their minds over some of their health problems in that.
The picnic will be held in Phileas Park in Evergreen starting at 2 p.m. Do aspirin commercials give you a pain? Well, the Federal Trade Commission is offering some relief. The commission today ordered drug manufacturers to drop superiority claims for their products unless they can back them up with clinical proof. The commission found many of the advertising claims for non-prescription pain remedies misleading. The rule came in a pair of decisions affecting drug manufacturers Bristol-Myers and Sterling Drug. Apparently, Chrysler Corporation of America is well on its way to financial recovery. Chrysler Chairman Lee Iacocca was in Washington today telling officials that the giant automaker is ready to pay off its $800 million in government loans. In a speech to the National Press Club, Iacocca said, "Today is such a great occasion, my inclination is just to stop now and hold a party." In 1980 and 81, when Iacocca engineered the government loans, many observers doubted they would ever be paid off. Meanwhile, in Detroit, Chrysler officials reported that sales for the first 10 days of July were up 51% compared to the same period last year. Overall, the 6 major American auto dealers say that new car sales were up about 42%. The car producers say they are optimistic about future car sales, too, if interest rates continue at a reasonable level. Locally, it looks like the free government ration cheese is running out, and today might be the last day for local residents to collect it. The cheddar cheese, you may remember, is the 3rd government shipment sent to community services in El Paso County. Along with the Hillside Center, the cheese is also available at the Walt Fortman and Billy Spielman Centers. The cheese surplus won't last long, so those eligible should come pick it up, at least their share, while it lasts. Coming up on the News 13 Early Report, a briefing on a series of reports by Ruth Spencer. The title tells all, the Tin Grin. Stay tuned.
Pizza delivers. Domino's Pizza!
A super sizzling summer sidewalk sale is going on right now at J. Chisholm with savings up to 75% on boots, jeans, hats, shirts, and more. Stock up on men's long-sleeve Western dress shirts by Wrangler in assorted styles and colors, only $9.99. Save $50 to $100 on men's Western corduroy sport coats by Brad Whitney, now $49.99 while supplies last. Save up to $20 a pair on ladies' summer slacks in brightly colored twills. This weekend, sale priced at $14.99. Quantities are limited, so hurry to J. Chisholm in the Chapel Hills Mall.
It's KRDO TV 13 for the best in late-night entertainment right after News 13 every weeknight, beginning with Soap.
I'm not gonna last. I'm not young, but I'm not gonna last.
I saw a flying saucer.
Then Nightline, followed by Lie Detector.
Lie Detector, the show that uncovers deception, establishes the facts, and clears the record.
Join us late nights for Soap, Nightline, and Lie Detector here on TV 13.
Guess who just beat America's #1 instant coffee for best taste? Rise! It's Sunrise. Sunrise beat the leading instant coffee for richer, fresher flavor. Rise! Even more surprising, Sunrise is naturally less in caffeine, 26% less. Surprise! Sunrise, the taste that beat the #1 instant coffee. Surprise!
Surprise yourself with Sunrise.
Tonight on the News 13 6 o'clock report, Ruth Spencer will begin her 3-part series on children's braces, appropriately called Tin Grin. Now, it's a consumer-oriented piece, and Ruth is now in the newsroom to tell us a little bit about it. Ruth?
Scott, it's estimated that over 4 million people will receive orthodontic care this year, and the majority of those will be children. Now, over the last decade, orthodontic patients have increased in numbers, and the attitudes about wearing braces have changed. Some people I interviewed for the series told me that it's almost become a status symbol to wear braces, a fad. Now, there's no question that orthodontics is a good thing for those who really need it, but it's expensive, it's painful, and it's time-consuming, and parents need to know this before they take the recommendation of their family dentist and simply send the child to the orthodontist that dentist recommends. Now, one orthodontist told me that even in severe cases, braces are not recommended for children who really don't want to wear them. And a lot of orthodontists might not tell you that. Now, these are the kinds of things that we'll be telling viewers in the series, and hopefully it will help them make a better decision about whether or not their child really should have braces. Scott?
Thanks a lot for that report, Ruth. The historic Cliff House in Manitou Springs is up for sale tonight. The building's owners say they just can't afford to rebuild after last year's devastating fire. Although over $120,000 has been put into the framing of the top floor of the building, owners received word this week that they won't get any federal money to help pay for the rebuilding project.
We had a UDAG application through the city, which was disapproved. Therefore, that pretty much cinched the decision on the general partner to proceed with selling the property.
Restoring the building would cost about $8 million, and Reed says they hope to find an owner with enough collateral to get a federal loan and complete the restoration project. Arms negotiations in Geneva, Switzerland are reportedly making progress of sorts today. A story in the Washington Post says the Soviet Union has now presented its idea for limiting the development of nuclear weapons. The Post says the Soviets are suggesting a ceiling of 1,100 nuclear bombers and missiles capable of carrying multiple weapons. U.S. officials are said to be studying that offer. The U.S. is being accused of sabotaging efforts to regulate mining in seabeds of the oceans. The charge comes from some delegates to the International Law of the Sea Conference that opened in Oslo, Norway today. The delegates are trying to convince the U.S. to sign a United Nations treaty regulating such mining. But the U.S. is claiming exclusive rights over all resources within 200 miles of its coastline. So far, 120 nations have signed this United Nations treaty. Well, Tammy Gordon says the area weather forecast continues to improve. She's predicting sunnier skies and warmer temperatures, if that's possible, for tomorrow. Her forecast and a story about a Russian talking elephant when we come right back.
Pueblo Bank and Trust proudly presents the Colorado Collection. Limited edition belt buckles handcrafted in solid brass. These original buckles come with a soft suede pouch, a registration certificate, and each bears its own serial number. This beautiful collection includes the Buffalo, the Prospector, and the Colorado State Seal buckle. To be one of the proud owners of the Colorado Collection, deposit as little as $500 in selected Pueblo Bank and Trust savings plans. The Colorado Collection, only at Pueblo Bank and Trust Company.
One business lunch won't strap you, but add hotel bills, plane tickets, all the costs of sending people out of town on sales calls, you see how they can tie your company down. Unless you qualify leads first with Mountain Bell's telemarketing, you save trips to questionable accounts and concentrate on real prospects. So don't let sales costs tie you down. Call Mountain Bell about telemarketing.
Welcome to the Mariposa Cucina. 2 for dinner?
Yes, please.
Oh, dear, look at the menu. Everything looks so good.
It sure does. I think I'll have the beef burrito, the cheese enchilada, bean tostada, and beef taco.
I'll have the same. Good. That's our large combination. Will you be having cocktails tonight?
Sure, I'll have a margarita.
I'll have one, too.
This is delicious.
The Mariposa Cocina, just for you. Now is the time for you to visit Michael Garman Galleries. Enter the world of times gone by. Relive the past and marvel at the works created by Michael Garman himself. Michael Garman also has new hours, just for you. Now you can visit Garman Galleries from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and Sunday from 12 noon to 5:30 p.m. Now is the perfect opportunity for you to visit the world of Michael Garman in Old Colorado City.
Topping off people, places, and things tonight. What does it all mean story. A new study suggests that the more education a man's wife has, the more likely he will develop heart trouble. Dr. Suzanne Haynes of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill found that men whose wives have attended college and are working are 3 times as likely to develop heart disease as men whose wives only have a grade school education and don't work. The study says even if the well-educated wife, doesn't work, the husband is still more likely to get heart trouble, although the chances are slimmer than those for the husband with the well-educated working wife. What would a baby elephant say if it could talk? Well, how about have you watered the elephant? Believe it or not, the Soviet news agency TASS in Russia says it has the world's only talking baby elephant, and that's just one of the 20 phrases the elephant can say. Tass says the elephant, Batir, was orphaned at an early age and raised by humans, and has picked up about 20 simple phrases. Zoologists say the Batir has exceptional hearing compared to most elephants, and this may be part of the reason for his human vocabulary. The zoologists say Batir has reportedly say that they have taken recordings of Batir speaking as well. And finally, on People, Places, and Things, a place for people who really want to get away from it all. But as Terry Lloyd reports, it'll cost you.
There is no asking price for this getaway-from-it-all island. Any prospective purchaser will, according to the agents, know its value immediately. But they'd better have at least £3 million to spend if they want to become the new owners of Breccu. That will buy an island free from burdens such as taxes, crime, or regulations. The 100 acres rich in wildlife also include a natural harbour, just in case the owner wants to keep in touch with the outside world. Or for the jet-setter, Breccu has its own helicopter and landing strip for swift access to the UK or France. Down-to-earth features include a luxury manor house, 4 cottages, a farm with outbuildings, and of course, a swimming pool. In reality, though, Breccu has lost touch with the outside world. Instead of taxes, it has a commitment to send 2 men with muskets to neighbouring islands in the event of trouble. The staff here, there are 6, refer to the present owner, millionaire businessman Mr. Len Machin, as King. He's moving to a smaller home, but hopes a nice screwball like him will take over the island which has been his for the last 18 years.
I think an island would be great, especially with all that seawater around you, and we could sure use it. It's getting warmer by the day here in the Springs.
Yes, it is. Pretty hot. We're close to 90 in Colorado Springs for a high this afternoon, and many above 90 across eastern Colorado. And there have been a few scattered showers around, but primarily a good sunny day.
Bring some showers our way and cool it off.
Want some more, huh? Partly sunny in Colorado Springs at this hour. It's 88 degrees. Humidity's 15%. Winds out of the northeast at 10. Barometers at 30.17. And falling. In Pueblo, cloudy and 94 degrees, humidity's 20%, winds out of the southeast at 16, barometers at 30.03, and falling. We pretty much, in the higher levels of atmosphere, have the same kind of situation that we had yesterday. Very few isobars in this part of the nation, and in fact, the gradient is very, very loose in this part of the nation. Of course, you can't see me, but there's the map there. There is a cold front up north. That's moving primarily towards the east rather than dropping down into this part of the nation. Let's have a look at our satellite map, and we'll see the cloud cover associated with that cold front up in the Pacific Northwest. There you can see it. And there you can see they're getting a bit of rain up in parts of Washington, Oregon, now extending over into the northern Rocky Mountain region. There you can see here in Colorado, where the skies are fair to partly cloudy. Here I am once again. There is some moisture streaming up from way down in the Pacific and out into the Plains region. That'll build up over the next couple days. They'll likely see some showers. As far as our weather's concerned, though, we'll likely see a drying of conditions. We'll still see a few scattered afternoon showers, but for the most part, we'll see sunny days and rather warm ones also. We'll have more on our hot weather today coming up next.
Of the Rockies, the fresh of the Rockies. Brewed the Coors way, natural and pure.
Coors to you, the clean of it, all night through, the fresh of it. Rocky Mountain Gold, you got it. The best of the Rockies is yours.
There's only one way to discover whether you can do it. Run the Pepsi Challenge Triple Crown. Don't miss the second race, the 10,000-meter race through Cheyenne Mountain Ranch. You'll race with Rod Dixon on an all-new course. It's the Pepsi Challenge Triple Crown, brought to you by Cheyenne Mountain Ranch, Pepsi, KRDO, and TWA. Take the Ultimate Challenge on July 16th and run to qualify for a trip for 2 to Athens, Greece. And age division winners win 3 days and 2 nights at Crested Butte, courtesy of Solutions Incorporated. Run the 10,000-meter race on July 16th.
Front-wheel drive, Delco Bose radio, 100% fuel-injected high-altitude engines, touring suspension, leather or cloth interior, whatever your fancies. We're unloading them in the largest numbers of the summer. And we're desperate, I mean desperate, for nice luxury used cars. So if you want to pay the lowest price for your new Cadillac and at the same time get the highest price for your trade-in, now is the time at Red Nolan Cadillac in Motor City.
Why not today? Red Nolan Cadillac.
It's sunny and hot in western Colorado, 95 at this hour in Grand Junction, and Durango reports an 87-degree reading. There was a bit of fog this morning in the northern mountains of Colorado, also out in the northeastern plains. That was early this morning. Of course, it burned off by mid-morning or so. Most of the thunderstorms this afternoon have been concentrated down in the southeastern part of the state, from the foothills here out to the southern plains of Colorado. Now, it was a funnel cloud that was apparently spotted by the Sheriff's Department in Boone, Colorado. No reports of it touching down. In fact, it wasn't even confirmed. But again, it was an unconfirmed funnel cloud reported by the Sheriff's Department near Boone. 89 was our warmer high in Colorado Springs, 53 our low this morning, and Pueblo a high 94, our low of 54 degrees. Here's our forecast. Lower Arkansas Valley, overnight low 57, a high of 96 degrees tomorrow afternoon. Fair to partly cloudy tonight. Perhaps a few isolated showers will continue for another couple hours anyway, then mostly clear tomorrow. San Luis Valley, low 47, a high of 82 degrees. Isolated showers down there tonight also, otherwise fair through Friday. In Pueblo, low 59, a high 95. Isolated showers, particularly in northern Pueblo County through the evening. Winds will be rather gusty at times through tonight, and then mostly fair tomorrow. Colorado Springs, a low 58, a high of 89 degrees. Mostly clear to partly cloudy tonight. Few isolated showers in the Pikes Peak region, and then sunny tomorrow. Scott, looks like hot, dry weather.
Continuing on.
Looks that way.
All right, Tammy, thanks. It's just not a game for kids anymore. Actually, Domino's has always had an adult popularity to it, but it's just recently become the game that has attracted worldwide competition. Linda Kubbitz has the story.
You may wonder why 1,500 contestants came from all across the country to Andalusia, Alabama, just to play Domino's, a game you could play on your own back porch. Well, James Morgan, three-time winner of the World Championship Tournament, has the answer. For the price of a $10 registration fee, this Mississippi man has walked away $6,000 richer, taking the first place award. He doesn't play for the money, though, purely for the love of the game.
Well, you meet a lot of people, and that's why you like to play them. That's why you like playing tournaments, because everybody's here.
This annual event started 8 years ago as a local bicentennial project. Now it's a worldwide affair with cash and prizes totaling $23,000. Even though the stakes are high, the fundamentals of the game are simple.
You want to win the money, you want to win the game, and you try and you play. You want to get up that nickel or that dime, and you just play as hard as you can.
And if the players don't leave winners, they'll know they've been beaten by the best. I'm Linda Kubbitz for ABC News, Andalusia, Alabama.
From Domino's to a sport with just a little bit more physical contact.
Yeah, the hitting got underway today with the Broncos. We'll talk about that. And the Washington Redskins, 6 months after the fact, they finally get those rings, which they want, which are worth about, $5,000 or so. We'll talk about that. We'll have a feature on some running when we come right back.
Household Finance is backing Tom Emmerich.
I try and go on a one-on-one basis. You tell a person what's expected of them, they're going to do it. And I think there's a lot of personal pride and satisfaction in what a person does.
If you're working for a better life, like Tom Emmerich, you're the person we want to back at Household Finance, with personal loans up to $5,000 or more.
We're here today, giving folks a chance, backing you all the way. Household Finance. We got crab legs, sea galley, we got shrimp, and a whole lot more. We got steak, we got steak, we got steak, top sirloin, we got steak, tri-steak, Neptune, and prime rib, the seafood for just a little more. Only a little bit more.
Now isn't that a good idea?
So come to Sea Galley tonight.
What's all the commotion about? Only one of the biggest sales events of the year, the Chapel Hills Mall Bell-Ringing Mall Walk Sale. Our merchants have brought tables into the mall and loaded them down with drastically reduced summer merchandise. Special mall criers will be walking through the mall calling your attention to store specials. The savings are fantastic during the Bell-Ringing Mall Walk Sale.
Chapel Hills Mall.
Ever wonder why kids don't like haircuts?
What's the matter, kid? Cat got your tongue?
Why women get fed up with hair salons?
An appointment. Honey, we haven't even checked your credit rating.
Why, most men aren't real pleased with their haircuts. Well, everyone loves Fantastic Sam's. No appointments, low prices, and your hair will look fantastic.
Fantastic Sam's, where a good time ends with a great haircut.
Day 2 up in Greeley for the Broncos in their training camp, and the hitting got underway bright and early this morning. Now, one casualty, Bill Leary, a linebacker out of Mesa College, he was injured and taken to a local hospital. No word on the extent of that injury. Meantime, 2 second-year men are both in camp. They are linebackers Darren Como and Ken Woodward. The veterans will start arriving in mass on Sunday, and of course, we will have more on the Broncos training camp coming up in our full sports report at 6 o'clock. World champion Washington Redskins also opened up their training camp, and even though it's been 6 months since they won the Super Bowl, they still have a reason to do some celebrating.
It may seem ironic in an age when athletes and the money they make dominates sports news, but to the football players in the Super Bowl, the ring, emblematic of victory, seems to be almost as important as the dough. Today at Redskin Park, Coach Joe Gibbs talked of what the rings represent to the Redskins.
We started out last year with 28 other teams, 28 other organizations, trying to get the same thing that we wound up with.
At a reported cost of $5,500 apiece, the rings are a thing of beauty. On top, a football of diamonds, surrounded by a burgundy border of rubies. On one side, the player's or coach's name and number, and on the other, the capital, the Redskins' chief's head, and Hail to the Redskins, the title of the team's fight song. While the passing years may diminish the memory of that January day in Pasadena, the ring will serve as a lasting memento of football's biggest prize. Bob McLean for ABC News, Washington.
The second leg of the Pepsi Challenge, a 10,000-meter race, will go this Saturday morning beginning at the Cheyenne Mountain Ranch near the Country Club of Colorado. KRDO along with the Pepsi are the sponsors of the race. You can still register at the Pikes Peak. Why? Cost of registration is $8. Now, Rod Dixon, the 1983 San Francisco Beta Breakers champion and a member of the Pepsi Pacesetters, try to say that 3 times, was scheduled to run in the race, but I did speak to him this afternoon, and yesterday he injured his Achilles tendon and will be unable to make it. However, Garden of the Gods champion John Escobel and top runners Dave Edge and Pat Porter will be running. That race will begin at 8 a.m. And Scott, we might mention that a clinic will go at 6:30 tomorrow night on the Country Club of Colorado driving range. So really, you've got 3 runners that have run sub-30-minute 10Ks. So the field, we'll hear Dave Gordon from Pepsi at 6 o'clock, but he believes the field might be the best 10K field in the state of Colorado this year. We're looking forward to the race. Should be a good one.
Now, I know you were talking about running in the first one a few weeks back. Do you have any plans of running this one?
I got a little bit waylaid. My training has gone by the, well, whatever. Maybe I'll run in the fall sometime. Yeah, right.
Right. We'll be back in just a minute.
Western Federal Savings keeps bringing you improved services and new money-making accounts. All the things that make banking safe, convenient, and profitable. The 33 Colorado offices, most with weekday evening and Saturday morning business hours. The 5 different ways to write checks. The Plus System banking cards offering 24-hour automated teller machine access. And highly profitable accounts, such as the Insured Money Market Fund and the 18-month certificate. All for you, all at Western Federal Savings.
In the old days, family and friends gathered together to celebrate, again and again. Today, there's a place that recaptures all that, the Hungry Farmer Restaurant. There's good spirit, and best of all, delicious food. The Hungry Farmer makes every meal an occasion, and every occasion unforgettable. Come home and celebrate at the Hungry Farmer Restaurant. Garden of the Gods Road, 1 block west of I-25. Reservations accepted.
Everybody knows the best time to buy tires, or a fancy 5-piece bedroom set, or just a new set of sheets. It's during a sale. Well, now the same holds true for long-distance telephoning. MCI's sale for new customers is on now. So don't put off calling MCI any longer. Call MCI now. True, we could have saved you a lot of money last month, but we can save you even more money this month.
Furniture Liquidators Carload Buying Power has purchased 3 of our top-selling wood living room groups. This 9-piece country group with rocker, sofa, 2 end tables, chair, party ottoman, with bar and 2 stools, $849. Or this 6-piece group covered in Antron nylon, sofa, rocker, chair, 2 end tables, and party ottoman, $749. Or this 6-piece contemporary group covered in 100% nylon, $799. Experience carload buying power only at Furniture Liquidators, 508 South Tejon.
We'll be back with more local news about 30 minutes from now in the News 13 6 o'clock report. Here's some of the top local stories we're covering tonight. More words of warning about drinking water in the Pikes Peak area. Today's warning comes from Palmer Lake. A hazardous waste site in Pueblo could have a positive economic effect on industry here in the Springs. And a drive to save a historic building in Manitou has hit a federal dead end. Tammy Gordon is predicting more sunshine for the Springs area, and John Eves has the latest from the Broncos training camp in Greeley. Keith Edwards and I will be on the anchor desk with the rest of the local news, making sure that you are the first to know. Now for the news from the national and international scene, here's Peter Jennings in Washington with World News Tonight.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight. Reporting from Washington, Peter Jennings.
Good evening. There is some good news. The Chrysler Corporation has come a long way. Just a few years ago, the company was on the brink of bankruptcy. Out in Sterling Heights, Michigan today, at the Chrysler stamping plant, there are more people at work than at any time since 1978. Well, that doesn't mean the car industry is out of the woods, but it does mean that today Chrysler has been able to pay back the federally guaranteed loans 7 years ahead of schedule. Here in Washington, ABC's Stephen Ogg.
For Chrysler Chairman Lee Iacocca, it had to be his happiest day in years. First, he took the good news direct to President Reagan at the White House, and later to the public at a luncheon speech.
Today, I'm here to tell you that we are going to pay off the last $800 million in government-guaranteed loans, taking the outstanding debt down to 0.
It was in 1979 that the government agreed to guarantee $1.2 billion in loans to keep Chrysler alive. The money didn't have to be paid back till 1990. But Chrysler is paying it off 7 years early. Chrysler can do that because it now has plenty of cash, with a record $172 million profit in the first quarter of this year, and an anticipated $300 million in the second quarter. The loan guarantees gave Chrysler time to turn itself around.
I would point to an extraordinary combination of management expertise, particularly in the area of marketing, a basically sound product line.
Like the front-wheel K cars, the Dodge Aries and the Plymouth Reliant. And they stretched that basic design into the New Yorker and the popular LeBaron. They've also sold lots of expensive options. But there's another reason for Chrysler's turnaround.
We couldn't have made it without concessions from the members of the United Automobile Workers.
The workers have given up about $1.1 billion in wages and benefits, but now they want some of it back.
The members were good enough to let them open the contract when Chrysler needed it for survival, and I believe that it's now time for Chrysler to pay the employees back for what they did for them.
The people who made the greatest sacrifice to saving the Chrysler Corporation are the workers, and therefore the workers should and have every right to expect their equal share of that prosperous company now.
So over the next few weeks, Chrysler will face some pretty big demands on its newfound riches. But today was clearly Lee Iacocca's day. All the more so because it was just 5 years ago to the day that he was fired by the Ford Motor Company. Stephen Ogg, ABC News, Washington.
Chrysler isn't the only auto company with good news today. All of the big 3 automakers reported strong sales during the first 10 days of this month. And retailers in general had a very good June, with sales up 0.7%. The 4th month in a row they've gone up. Analysts had long been saying it was up to the consumer to lead the way out of the recession.